V Bosně byly objeveny pyramidy, ale kde byly objeveny? Nedaleko Sarajeva u města Visoko. A není to ani malá, ani bezvýznamná pyramida. Je vysoká 220 metrů, s délkou stran více než 360 metrů. Obložena je pískovcovými kvádry, což ukazuje na přítomnost neznámé civilizace. Nejedná se o příliš známou archeologickou lokalitu. Dnes je pyramida zanesena hlínou a vegetací, proto zůstala bez povšimnutí. Proč byla ukryta před zvědavci, aby vypadala jako běžný kopec? Zpráva o tomto mimořádném objevu obletěla celý svět. Snad všechna média navštívila městečko Visoko. To bylo v roce 2005. Co se podařilo objevit a jaké jsou další plány bosenských archeologů? To jsme pro čtenáře VM magazínu zjišťovali přímo ve Visoku. Doktor Semir Osmanagić, autor archeologického projektu, nás už očekával a věnoval nám celý jeden den. Prošli jsme tunely a navštívili pyramidu slunce. Vysvětlil nám, jak se stavěla a proč byly vybudovány tunely. Nyní dejme slovo autorovi projektu, aby nás seznámil, co se v bosenském údolí pyramid skrývá.
My name is Dr. Semir Osmanagić. I am the anthropology professor at the American University in Bosnia. My PhD is in Mayan studies, and I am foreign member of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences. For the last 25 years, I have been investigating pyramids all over the world, from the Central American countries like Honduras, Guatemala, Salvador, Belize, Mexico, but also Peru, Bolivia, Canary Islands, Mauritius, China, Egypt, Sudan, and of course Europe. In spring of 2005, I first came to this central Bosnian town of Visoko. 20,000 people, 30 kilometers northwest from the capital city of Sarajevo. I came to Visoko to visit a local museum, but what I saw in front of me was a hill which was regularly shaped, 4 sides, triangular faces, obvious corners, the same slope. I took the compass, and compass showed me the orientation of this side to the north, south, east, and west. I know that Mother Nature does not make hills with 4 sides, triangular faces, and perfect orientation. I knew that this was an artificial structure. In the last 7 years, from 2005 to 2012, we established non-profit foundation called Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. We have spent 300,000 hours on archaeological digging, sample testing, and radiocarbon dating, and we concluded that in Visoko we have 5 pyramids, which we named the Bosnian Pyramids of the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, and Love. And under the valley of the pyramids is a huge network of underground tunnels, chambers, and water accumulation. So we named this the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids.
Pyramidy mají stále svá tajemství. Možná jste to nevěděli, ale ani v jedné ze 3 pyramid v Gíze nebyl objeven žádný nápis, ani jediné slovo o tom, proč byly postaveny, ani k čemu sloužily. Nemáme žádné důkazy, že by tehdejší králové, faraoni byli v těchto pyramidách pohřbeni. Navíc lidské ostatky nebyly nalezeny v žádném ze sarkofágů uvnitř nejstarších pyramid. Byly objeveny nápisy na bosenských pyramidách?
In the biggest Egyptian pyramids, there are no pharaohs. No pharaoh Cheops, Khephren, Myceren, Sneferu, Djoser, no mummies, no hieroglyphic writings, no symbols, no tools. Not a single proof who and when built it. If you want to call something a pyramid, it has to fulfill 7 criteria. The first one is geometry. You have to have geometry of the pyramid. The second one is the orientation. All the pyramids in China, most in Egypt, most in Peru, all Cahokia pyramids are oriented to the north. This one also. Element number 3 is artificial construction material. In our case, the pyramid has been covered in concrete blocks. Element number 4, inner passageways. We have proven by using georadar methods that the pyramid is full of the tunnels and chambers on different levels. Element number 5, underground tunnels and chambers. We have a network of tens of kilometers in length. Element number 6, water. It was always important for all the pyramids in the world. Here we have 2 big rivers and a lot of underground water streams. And element number 7 is sacred geometry. 3 main pyramids in Bosnia, sun, moon and dragon, form perfect equilateral triangle with a distance between their tops of 2,170 meters. Inside that big triangle there is a smaller one. The tops of the earth, lava and the river, they form another triangle within the triangle. The Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids fulfill all 7 elements and therefore we call them the Pyramid Valley.
U většiny pyramidových komplexů po celém světě existují podzemní chodby a komory. Například u pyramid v Gíze, kde tunely spojují Sfingu s Nilem. V Sakáře existuje podzemní labyrint. V Číně jsou to chodby vybudované z pískovcových cihel a jílu. Na Tenerife u města Guimar jsou to tunely a jeskyně. Terénní výzkumy ukazují, že v bosenském údolí pyramid existuje rozsáhlá síť podzemních tunelů. Dá se předpokládat, že spojují všechny velké stavby, které mají nějaký historický význam. Při čištění chodeb byly objeveny megality s rytinami. Nejsou to ani staré důlní šachty, protože zde nebyly nalezeny žádné nástroje, uhlí, stříbro, zlato nebo jiný materiál. Vydejme se společně do tajemného podzemí.
We entered the underground labyrinth Ramne. From this place to the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 2.5 kilometers. In the last 7 years, we have cleaned and secured, using the wooden support, approximately 600 meters. So it is more than 2 kilometers to go to reach the pyramid. The tunnels are built in the material called conglomerate. So what we do, when we clean it, we put the wood, so the researchers and tourists and media and our volunteers are safe when they come and work here. In 2010, our foundation organized the first international summer camp for volunteers. For the first time, the young people and those who feel young at their heart got the opportunity to work on the archaeological project, and they didn't need to be archaeologists or students of archaeology. They just needed to be good intentional and people who wanted to be a part of a huge discovery. That year, 2010, we had 500 volunteers from 30 countries. In 2011, we received volunteers from 32 countries. And in 2012, we have already received the applications from volunteers from 51 countries and 6 continents. They are coming from countries like Peru, Colombia, Bolivia, US, Canada or Mexico. But also most of the European countries, also Czech, and Slovak Republic, and all the way to the east to Uzbekistan, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, Malaysia, Australia, and New Zealand. So this place is becoming a hub for young people who are bringing their enthusiasm, and we are giving them the opportunity to make actual discoveries themselves. So they have become a part of a history. Now the tunnel is getting darker a little bit. We wanted to keep the mystique and the mystery of underground labyrinth. Here is one of the chambers that we discovered. The chamber is about 25 square meters in surface, and the height is approximately 2.5 meters. There is one tunnel going this way, but is completely filled in with the material. Gravitational force should bring this sand down, but it's standing up just like that.
So what do you think? What is it like?
It seems that the gravitational laws do not work in all parts of the tunnels. Here we can see the wall. We call it a dry wall because no binding material. This dry wall sealed one tunnel. And then here we can see the fill-in material. Somebody closed this tunnel. As we move, we can see that all the tunnels are closed. We have two civilizations. First one who built the network, very advanced engineering skills, over 12,000 years ago. And the second one who came here 4,600 years ago and closed everything down. Why? To hide a big secret. The last summer, 2011, this was completely closed. And then we decided, with the help of volunteers, to clean. We started removing this material, and the whole new network of tunnels opened up, with the tunnels to the right, to the left, and they were all closed. This material is called conglomerate. It's a natural sedimentation. When you have flood, water recedes. Behind the water, you have the rocks and stones and pebbles and sand. After tens of thousands of years of accumulation, it's getting compact. The builders made those tunnels in the conglomerate. When they built the tunnels, they removed this material. We can see different colors, blue and green and gray and brown and red, different colors. In order to build a network, tens of kilometers in length, they removed millions of tons of material. What did they do with that? They used it as the construction material to build concrete blocks to cover the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. It happens over 12,000 years ago.
Před 12,5 tisíci lety byla velká část Evropy pokryta vrstvami ledu. Pouze na jejím okraji od Baskicka přes Španělsko, Itálii, Chorvatsko, Bosnu, Turecko až po Zakavkazskou oblast vzkvétala vyspělá civilizace. Území od dnešní Sávy až po Jadran bylo považováno za nejatraktivnější. Kultury staré tisíce let nakonec toto místo opustily a zanechali nám odkaz v podobě pyramid, monumentálních kamenných měst a složitých energetických systémů. Kosmické kataklizma před 12 tisíci lety a tání evropských ledovců způsobilo zvýšení hladiny moře o několik stovek metrů. Stopy civilizace zaplavila voda. Časem byly pyramidy zaneseny zeminou a porostly vegetací.
Civilization who filled all these tunnels with the material, they used stones, rocks, probably from the river beds. They brought millions of pieces to make those walls. And then they brought this filled material. We can see it is not compact. And they closed all the tunnels. So we can see the difference between the filling material, which is not compact, and conglomerate, which is rather compact. Those underground tunnels, and we are over 20 meters below the surface now, we are finding interesting blocks like this one here, which is obviously shaped, and it has the shape of the eye. Also, on some of the plates that we are discovering, we can see the carvings. And some of them, when under different angles of light, can give us faces. This is our location called Megalith K1. In 2006, this megalith was completely covered by the conglomerate. And then we cleaned it and realized that it was 4 tons in weight. On its surface, we discovered the carved symbols, like this one here, that looks like an arrow, and more symbols. More carvings are here, looks like an arrow. However, we can see that the vertical line does not go exactly in the middle point. We have something that looks like a letter E. However, the vertical line is not connected to all 3, but to 2 of them. So more symbols, total of 25 symbols. Obviously, somebody was literate because they were carving all those symbols. What do they represent at this point? We don't have enough information. We will need to find more carvings so we can compare them and make our final conclusions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We are at the location of the megalith K2. This is the biggest megalith so far. It is 8 tons in mass. Look at its features. The surface looks like relief, with the hills and the valleys and the rivers. Secondly, we have the line here going all the way on the top. Like this is a cover. Number 3, below the megalith, we can see the support, about 15 centimeters thick plate. This is very important. It means that somebody picked up this place, put the support, and then put the megalith on top of it. And between the megalith and the plate is the binding material based on calcium carbonate. Why? Because they didn't want this block to move left or right. Why? We know why. 22 meters below this megalith is underground water stream. When water moves, it generates the energy. And this block is exactly above that energy. We took samples from this block, sent them to the Institute for Atomic Physics. they applied very sophisticated methods: diffraction, Röntgen analysis, and phase analysis. And they concluded that this was ceramic. It's artificially made material. Also, the georadar specialists discovered that exactly in the middle of this block there is an oval object. So, somebody pushed the base, they placed the oval object, and then they sealed it. They covered it. So what do we have now? We have underground water, energy coming up, hitting to the oval object, it starts working, it is surrounded by ceramic, ceramic vibrates and generate electromagnetic field. And that's something that we can measure with our scientific instruments. And here we have field of 28 kilohertz. So this is ancient technology. We are approximately 190 meters from the entrance to the underground labyrinth. This is an intersection with 6 tunnels, one in this direction. Then we discovered the wall here, and this wall closes 3 tunnels. One is there, under that half-circle ceiling to the left. The other one is there for number 2 and number 3. Over here is tunnel number 4. As you can see, they are all closed. Behind me is tunnel number 5, and to my left is tunnel number 6. In order to get to the Pyramid of the Sun, we had to move south. This is south. So at the time when we discovered the intersection, in order to go to the south, we would need to destroy this wall. Instead of that, we decided to open tunnel number 5. So when we get to next intersection, we made left to keep this southern direction. 230 meters from the entrance, we've discovered an underground chamber of 50 square meters in surface and 4 meters in height. This underground chamber has 8 side tunnels. So this is the biggest intersection so far, meaning that the builders were coming here at the very important meeting place from 8 different directions. We also noticed that people feel very good inside. It seems that some regeneration and healing process starts here. People who would come from the outside with a headache, they get here, the headache is gone. They come with the back pain, the pain is gone. So we've measured the concentration of negative ions. As we know, those negative ions clean our blood and our body. They kill viruses and microbes. The concentration at the entrance of negative ions is 1000 kiloions per cubic centimeter. At this place, it is 43,000 kiloions, 43 times higher than the outside. It seems that somebody built the underground healing facility. We have opened one of the side tunnels, just about 10 meters, and this is what we discovered. To my left, there is one tunnel, 180 centimeters high. We walk another meter, and there is another tunnel, again, 180 centimeters tall. We moved a little bit, and then we are finding the third tunnel, 150 centimeters tall. As we can see, they are all closed. We move a little bit more, the tunnel number 4, and then the tunnel number 5. So we open one tunnel, the whole new network of tunnels opened up. To my left is one of the side tunnels. As we can see, the height of the tunnel originally is 2.5 meters, but somebody brought this material, the soil and the clay and the rocks and the sand, and then they built this wall as a support for the fill material. Why would somebody bring hundreds of thousands of tons of material? They had to hide some big secrets. Not human bones, not valuables like we have today, jewelry or gold, but something much, much bigger. What is more important than that? Something that can help you to rule the world, and that is technology. Somebody didn't want us to get to the pyramid and find out what kind of energy source is there, what kind of technology they can get and rule the world. In this side tunnel in 2010, we discovered the first underground lake. The lake is of the blue color. It is 15 square meters in surface and half meter in depth. Because of the color, we know that this is a still water which has been melted, the minerals, for a very long time. We are in another underground chamber, approximately 350 meters from the entrance. This chamber is 30 square meters in surface and about 2.5 meters in height. It has 7 side tunnels. When we first came here, the tunnels and the chamber were completely filled in with the material. We started cleaning, removed all the material, and now, which one of the 7 to choose? With 2 compass, and compass showed us that south is this way. So we decided to clean this tunnel, and after a few hours, we were able to see a little hole. Removing the material, hole was getting bigger, meaning that behind, for the first time, we had the chance to see the open tunnel sections. So after 6 years of hard work, we discovered the first open sections, and one to the left was going for 70 meters, and one to the right for about 200 meters. When we think, what is the biggest reward for the researcher? It's not the money, it's not the position, it's not a title, it is the moment like this. When you go to the area where human foot has not been for thousands of years. And that's exactly what we experience here. Now, on this block we can see carvings. Some of them remind us on runes, on the runic writing. Now, these are runes, and they are one of the oldest European writings. So we discovered that 6 symbols that we can find in the runic writing are also here. this block, when we discovered it, was completely in conglomerate up to here. So all this area was very, very old, meaning that the carvings was extremely old. They go back thousands and thousands of years. Now those 7 symbols are not easy to decipher, and I believe only when we find several more blocks with this type of writings, then we can get a final deciphering and explanation.
Stojíme na severní straně pyramidy Slunce. Vstup do podzemního labyrintu Ravne je z tohoto místa vzdálený 2,5 kilometru. Vyčistili jsme asi 600 metrů chodeb. K pyramidě tak zbývají ještě 2 kilometry. Pomáhají nám dobrovolníci z celého světa. Přijeďte i vy do Visoka objevovat historii. Nyní půjdeme po schodech k archeologickému nálezu číslo 4. Byly zde vykopány mohutné betonové desky, staré 12 000 let. Z čeho byly vyrobeny? Použili materiál vytěžený při budování tunelů? Miliony tun kamenů museli přenést sem. Tady se vyráběly betonové desky použité na obložení vnějšího pláště pyramidy. Před 1000 lety lidé neznali portlandský cement. Jakým způsobem dokázali vyrobit konstrukce mnohem pevnější než beton 21. století? Způsob výroby byl velmi jednoduchý. Směs kamenů a jílovité hlíny krátce zahřály. Kopec, který vidíme na protější straně, je celý z hlíny. Tady probíhala prastará výroba betonu. Hlínu bylo potřeba zahřát na 400 stupňů a celé to promíchat. Dnes takovému procesu říkáme geopolymerizace.
Glina, when they ground clay, mix with the water, heat up to 400 degrees.
As you told.
And that's binding material. You get stones, rocks from tunnels, mix it concrete, beton. We are on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, our archaeological trench number 4. In the spring of 2006, we started removing the soil, about 80 centimeters, and then we discovered those rectangular blocks. This block is 4.5 meters long, 1.5 meter wide, and 45 centimeters thick. It is 7 tons in mass. It has flat surface, break at 90 degrees, flat side, break at 90, flat bottom. It has 6 flat sides and 6 breaks at 90 degrees. Obviously a product of the intelligent hand. Below this block is the second row of blocks. Below the second one is the third one and the fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of the geologists who've never been here are saying this is natural cracking. Of course it is not. It's obviously that it has been made, brought here, and then placed on top of each other. We took samples from these blocks and sent them to 6 different scientific institutes in Bosnia, Italy, and France. And they told us that this was a man-made concrete with the artificial binding material. Now, we can see stones and rocks and pebbles of different color, green and gray and blue and white and rose and red. In other words, the same material like in the underground labyrinth. Also, we can see they are of different sizes. When they made the underground labyrinth, they removed all this material. What did they do with the millions of tons of materials? They used it to make the best quality concrete. And for the binder, they used clay, this brownish material. A lot of clay around. They ground it, heat it up to 400 degrees, mix it with the water, and then clay is getting binding properties. Our modern concretes are from 10 megapascals to 60 megapascals. This concrete here is from 73 megapascals to 134 megapascals. Much more superior to our concretes in 21st century. So it tells us that those builders were very advanced. Behind me we can see some smaller pieces. The reason why below us is the gypsy village, people with not much of the money. They got the land basically for free because they even knew that this was a pyramid. They needed construction material. They dig a little bit, they found those blocks, they could not take them down because of 7 tons. They would put dynamite, blew everything out, and with the smaller pieces they used them as the construction material. So unfortunately, parts of the pyramids have been destroyed forever. We are standing on the northern triangular side of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun.
A nyní se omlouváme za sníženou kvalitu zvuku. Na tomto místě pyramidy slunce totiž přestaly fungovat všechny přístroje s dálkovým příjmem.
The concrete blocks of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Here we can clearly see how they made those blocks 12,000 plus years ago. They were using those rocks and stones and pebbles and sand when they were making those tunnels. And this yellow material is of course clay, cleaner. They ground clay, heat it up, and they made the concrete of exceptional qualities. In the binding material, we are finding organic material. When we analyzed it in the Polish lab, in Silesian Institute for Technology in Gliwice, they gave us a date, 12,350 years, plus minus 50 years. So, these blocks are made over 12,000 years ago. Egyptian pyramids are officially 4,500. Peruvian, Chinese and Mexicans officially 2,000 to 3,000 years. So the Bosnians are the oldest pyramids on the planet. Discovery of the Bosnian pyramids will forever change our view of the ancient history because of its 7 elements. Number 1, these are the first pyramids in Europe. Number 2, these are the biggest, the largest pyramids on the planet. Number 3, the orientation of this northern side to the true north is the most precise orientation on the planet, better than Egyptian pyramids. Number 4, we are discovering those concrete blocks of exceptional quality. Number 5, the pyramids are over 12,000 years old, which makes them the oldest pyramids on the planet. Number 6, under the Valley of the Pyramids is the most extensive underground tunnel network. And number 7, in those tunnels we are discovering the biggest ceramic blocks ever built in the ancient history. In the last 2 years, we have asked physicists and electrical engineers to help us discover the purpose of the Bosnian pyramids. What they did, they detected and measured the energy beam that's coming from the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. The beam has a radius of 4.5 meters and frequency of 28 kilohertz. That's the frequency not made by the Mother Earth, but by the machine. The second thing, we measured the ultrasound, which we cannot hear, but we can measure it by using our scientific instruments. The frequency from 28 to 32 kilohertz. Again, that's the frequency not made naturally, but by machine. And third phenomena, the infrasound. Our planet vibrates at 6 hertz and the pyramid at 7 hertz. So the conclusion is about the purpose of the pyramids. They are not built as a tombs for one dead man, king or pharaoh, but they were built as the huge energy machines for the living communities. An underground labyrinth to safeguard what is the most important and most valuable in our life, our health and prolonged life. Here in Bosnia, we've been making pioneering scientific steps, and 20 or 50 years from now, other researchers from Egypt, China, Mexico or Peru will be following our steps. The Bosnia is the land of the miracles.
VM magazín navštívil bosenské údolí pyramid v květnu roku 2012. Doktor Osmanagić, objevitel a autor archeologického projektu, nám věnoval celý jeden den. Prošli jsme podzemní tunely a navštívili nejvýznamnější archeologické objevy na pyramidě Slunce. Další dny jsme navštívili pyramidu Měsíce a královskou mohylu v nedaleké Vratnici, ale to už s jiným průvodcem. Sem musel odletět zpátky do Houstonu. Ze setkání vznikl zajímavý filmový dokument, který můžete vidět na webových stránkách časopisu VM magazín a Fakta X. První díl seriálu o bosenských pyramidách má název Bosenská pyramida Slunce. V dalších dílech seriálu uvidíte průzkum bosenské pyramidy Měsíce, mohylu ve Vratnici a nakonec rozhovor u kamenných koulí, které byly objeveny před pár lety u městečka Zadoviči.